Hello everyone, welcome to PSIR the 100 Plus channel. I hope that you're all doing well. Be consistent, be working hard all the time, and make sure that you evaluate yourself. If you are preparing for the prelims, you are doing some MCQs every other day, and if you're preparing for the mains examination or optionals, make sure that you do lot of rigorous answer writing practice, with help of which you can learn n number of new topics, and the examination will be a cakewalk if you are going in the right direction. Right. So today we'll be talking about G20 summit where our Prime Minister Modiji is going to attend. Actually, as I'm telling you today, this lecture he's already maybe in the flight going to the South Africa. Clear. So we'll also talk about what is India's agenda on G20 summit and what we are going to discuss on that particular forum. And I have to also tell you that India is not a part of, not the official member of G20 summit, but India is a observer of it. Okay. Yes. So small important information I have given to you with regard to G20 summit and Prime Minister Modi ji attending it, and I have given you some tips that you never need to forget when you are as an aspirant. Okay, those who are watching me for the very first time and those who have been watching me, do enroll in my courses, which is actually dedicated for PSIR optional 2026, and you can be very slow, you can be very fast. The customized schedule and mentorship will be given to you with me and from me directly. Okay, so you'll be having live classes, you'll be having real life classes. I don't want you to listen to recorded classes, so whoever misses any of the topics, I'll just align all the topics and I'll discuss with you again, so that interaction makes lot of interest. That is what I really believe in. So after that, 1-to-1 evaluation, 1-to-3 evaluation, learn from your peers, learn from your same aspirants that who are doing group discussions. Also we will have on the important contemporary topics. It's a very complete package that you will enjoy learning, that you will be motivated all through your preparation, and you will be writing and practicing lot of text, a lot of answers, and your mindset will be like completely exam oriented. That's how I am gonna prepare you for the PSIR optional 2026 for sure. Okay, for women empowerment and for the women, this is small price is less, and the women who can pay, they can be here along with the man. Okay, I hope, and this is my number. You can just put me a message. We can have a demo session. We can have a well discussion with regard to your weakness, strength, and so forth, and we'll talk about it also a lot. So today we'll be talking about PM Modi. Let us start our discussion without much wasting your time. Okay, PM Modi had to attend G20 summit in South Africa, and these guys are actually playing Ankh Micholi. Okay, when you know that when ASEAN summit was happening, which is also called as ASEAN summit, which was happening in Malaysia, which has concluded, Modi did not go, and Donald Trump visited. Now in South Africa, this particular country, the G20 summit is happening, and Modi ji is going there, and Donald Trump is not coming. So it's just like avoiding the the friends and enemies which are always together, and sometimes they are separated apart. Also, they will be having a cold relations or not. That is what is happening between Prime Minister Modi ji and also the Donald Trump, the US president here. Okay, so before going into a discussion, let us also see what is the G20 summits. How does it look like? It's a forum of largest economies, the great economies, the developed world, that meets regularly to discuss most pressing issues facing the global economy. So they are the countries which are great in number with regard to the GDP. They are developed nations. Their Western cultures are very much invasive, pervasive in all across the world. So they have the technical hegemony, they have the political hegemony, they have the economic hegemony, they have the cultural hegemony also over n number of countries in Asia, Africa, and other Latin American countries too. So G20 summit is a forum of largest economies in the world that is going to discuss, and basically they all meet to discuss what can we do with the problems that we are facing with regard to what economy across the globe. Together it accounts for 85% of world GDP. That is what I am talking about. 20% of the 20 countries are actually making up of summing up 85% of the world GDP. That is very global. Regional imbalances are there here. More than 75% of global trade and around two-thirds of the planet population lives in them. Okay, it consists of 19 countries because Russia has been removed from G20 because of its war on invasion. We can say that on Ukraine, and it is not dying down. Also, it gets escalated. Also, I've seen yesterday Russia has actually sent around 450 drones. That's a very havoc that Russia is creating in Ukraine. it consists of 19 bodies at this point of time with two regional bodies. So with me, please let us talk all the countries now. Okay, let us murmur all the countries, let us do the lip sync of these countries for sure, because we should not be throwing away with our lecture. We have to, it's not a walkthrough that you are listening to it, it's the lecture. Always I remember this point, I always tell all of you that my video should not be considered to be YouTube video content. It is completely a class. So take out your pen and paper and start writing what I'm discussing, and make sure that you prepare a notes, well of notes, connect to me, I'll also give it to you. That's not a big problem. Okay, 19 countries. Let us talk about in if we talk about South America, we are having Argentina is there, we are having Brazil is there. So in South America, we are having two important countries, Argentina and Brazil. And if you talk about North America, we are having all the three, Canada, Mexico, and USA. So in North America, we are having three countries, Canada, USA, and America. In the South America, we are having what, Brazil and Argentina. Okay, let us now talk about Europe. In Europe, how many countries we are having with regard to this? We are having France here, Germany here we are having Germany also. Then we also have United Kingdom we are also having. That's all. So three countries are represented from Europe. Then let us talk about Asia also, in which we are having India, in which we are also having what, India is there. India is now included, I guess, in the G20, if I'm not wrong, or if I may be wrong, please write in the comment section whether India is a part of G20 or not. So we are having here India plus Russia plus China we are having. So if we talk about the Gulf nations, we are having, from the Gulf we are having Saudi Arabia is there, Turkey is there, that two countries are there. Okay, and whole of Europe is also represented in the form of European Union. Okay, whole of the Europe is represented in the form of European Union. So we are here having, so that's all about it. Then you also have South Korea is also there with regard to Asia. Asia, South Korea is also there, and Japan is also there, Italy is also there, which is part of what, European, Western European countries. Then Southeast nations, if we talk about, we are having here Indonesia we are having here. Okay, so we are having Indonesia, and another important continent country we are having is Australia here. Okay, these are, so whenever you have lot number of, because it is important for all of you to make sure that you study all the 19 countries whichever are listed here. Why? Because in the group 1 examination, not exactly the group 1 examination, but UPSC examination, I guess 2021 or 2022, they asked that, okay, they have given G20 summit consists of which among the following nations. So they have given A and 4 countries, they have given B and 4 countries, they have given C and 4 countries. So like that they may ask, because it's a very larger summit and it is great, and world economies are being represented in this particular summit. That's the reason you should be learning all of them. But whenever you are learning countries more than 10, more than 15, basically you learn about continent wise, because in future they may ask you a question that the country which is represented is both G20 and G7, like that they may ask. So it's better that you learn continent wise the countries. It will become more easier for you to correlate which country belongs to multiple regional blocks or multiple international bilateral relations. Okay, I guess this is all clear to you. We have learned about G20. Let us now talk about what Modiji is doing there. Prime Minister Modiji will travel to Johannesburg from November 21 to 23. Today is November 21. He is on the flight, I guess. That's what I have told you. Okay, it will be, G20 will be conducted by South Africa, and it was confirmed Ministry of External Affairs. Okay, I should not be talking about where our Prime Minister Modiji is going because of his safety and security reason, but this is there in the newspaper only, so that's why I'm talking about it. Okay, PM Modi will continue. He will try to outline India's position across the G20 summit, and he's going to speak in all the three sessions of the summit. But the catch here is very simple here. If you see the catch here is Donald Trump is not coming. President Donald Trump is saying, I'm not going to South Africa. He is already annoyed and a very miffed guy always. Okay, like behave sometimes very childish too. I'm not going to South Africa for the G20 because I think their policies on the extermination of people are unacceptable. So he talks about the extermination of the people. He talks about the ill treatment of the people, but he does not speak anything with regard to the Palestinian people who have been losing their life and continuously veto the Gaza peace plan all the time in United Nations Security Councils. Now here he comes and says that, okay, we are ill treatment of the people are happening. So the biggest hypocrisy you can see right away on our face here. So I'm not going because South Africa has behaved extremely badly. That is what he said. Okay. Right. So Modiji is going and Trump is not going. So that really sounds very funny all the time. This year gathering comes at a very critical inflection. This G20 summit is very important at this point of time because global economy is shattering because of tariff uncertainty, unpredictability, which country is being taxed, how much, which country is given what a little bit concessions. We are not able to know it. So completely evolving tariff landscape. Global economies are on the slower path. Geopolitical alignments like India aligns with whom, or Russia aligns with whom, or US aligns with whom, Israel aligns with whom. What is the problem with regard to Thailand, Cambodia? Is there's Iran, then Israel, then US, US plus five, J plus five nations, which actually imposed sanctions on the Iran. So you don't know that which country is actually aligning with which country and what is the interest that they are actually looking after. So very unpredictable geopolitical situations that we are having along with the developmental priorities. So what is the more developmental priorities that we are going to have? We are talking about this in this particular summit. Okay, it has become more complex by the US President Donald Trump decision to boycott it. Okay, so and he said that no American officials is going to attend this particular summit. I don't know why they are doing it. The move follows his imposition of tariffs on the South African goods and accusations of discrimination against white Afrikaners. Okay, claims strongly rejected by Pretoria, South Africa. One of the important governing center is Pretoria. Pretoria said that Mr. Donald Trump, you don't talk about it. We look after our white Africans very properly. Okay, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, he said that if you are not attending the G20 summit, don't think that it is our loss. It is, my dear Trump, it is your loss. It is not exactly your loss. It is the American people loss. That is what he has commented, the South Africa president. So Prime Minister Modiji, when he's going to the G20 summit, he's going to push for some decisive, means this is decisive is nothing but there some decision need to be taken there. That's why we call it as decisive progress on issues closely related tied to India's long-term strategic development goals also. Issues inclusive economic growth and development and financing. This is very important. India will advocate for expanding capital at multilateral banks. MDBs are very important. Multilateral banks are those banks which actually gives loans to the many countries like World Bank we are having, Asian Development Bank we are having, New Development Bank we are having. These are all called as multi-developmental banks. Okay, so India is going to advocate for expanded capital at multilateral development banks, faster debt relief processes, okay, and mechanism to mobilize private investment for the developing economies. Okay, more FDIs we want, more FIIs we want, especially we want more FDIs which actually makes assets in our country and produces employment and also increases our economic growth rate. Okay, many emerging markets remain untrapped, okay, remains trapped in the prolonged restructuring cycle. Lot of countries are there still, we are not able to actually use that particular markets. In lot of import tariffs, lot of protectionist policies are there across the world. We have to work on it in order to expand the market which has been remaining which has been not yet harnessed. Okay, and India hopes to leverage the summit to revive momentum behind MDB reforms. We want a lot of reforms with regard to multi-development banks because we are a developing country. We are a capital efficient country. We are a budget deficit country. That's the reason we always push for what more liberal reforms with regard to investment in our country, with regard to FDIs. Okay, then we'll also talk about critical minerals framework because these rare earth elements are very important. Why? Because they are used in high-tech manufacturing like drones, they are used in smart mobiles, they are used in TV, they are used in semiconductors. So without these minerals elements, it's very difficult to actually have a high-tech products. A major Indian priority is securing endorsement for a G20 critical minerals frameworks, a rule-based system that ensures transparent mining practices with regard to rare earth elements, diversified supply chains. India should get the rare earth elements from different countries. So here one decision need to be taken that the countries which are a part of which are having very good record with regard to non-terrorism, which are very good and follow a very dialogue diplomacy which aligns with humanity and which has its principles of liberal rights giving to the citizens, etc. That particular countries need to be given what continuous supply of the rare earth elements so that they will develop. Okay, value addition within developing countries, what they are going to give. It definitely all of these minerals will add a lot of value in our development process because smartphones are still alienable to the remotest, the rural areas of our population. So the more the supply of this, the less cost we will have with regard to the smartphones, and more they will be available to the people to use. So value addition will happen if these elements, supply chains and minings are little bit liberalized and a rule based framework if it has been established. Say safeguards, again exploitation is also important. With the world increasingly dependent on lithium, cobalt, nickel, graphite and rare earth, this framework could prevent supply chain monopolization by the major powers, just like what China is doing. China controls 80 to 90% of the supply of rare earth elements, and if we don't have a framework, then we will never be able to use all these elements which are very important for the development of progress of a particular country. While most global south nations are aligned, means all the global south, in the south whatever the countries are there in the globe, all of them are together called as global south. Okay, they are actually aligned, and their resistance could come from only China and US, which dominate global critical minerals producing and refining. So that's what the Prime Minister Modi is going to say, that okay, because of China and USA, you guys are actually want to monopolize the critical rare earth elements. We don't want it to happen. Okay, make sure that that has been given to all the developing countries, and on this particular aspect, all the global south is in alignment. That is what he said is going to say. Climate action and renewable energy expansion is also there. New commitments on climate resilience, green transitions, means from the fossil fuel to non-fossil fuel production consumption. Climate resilience structures and technologies need to be developed, which are a prominent aspect with regard to India. PM Modiji is going to tell. India will highlight its rapid scale up of renewables, that how we have progressed from 10% of the renewables to today 50% of the renewables we will use in our production processes. Leadership in that we are having with regard to International Solar Alliance, and push for predictable climate finance, means in order to make sure that carbon emissions are intact, we need technologies which actually do it. So we want some money so that we can do some R&D and innovate some important technologies that can able to help us to decrease what carbon emissions. So that climate finance formula need to be chucked out in this particular G20 summit, that is going to be presented and proposed by what PM Modi in future days. Artificial intelligence governance is very, very important. The future of safe development oriented AI is emerging as a global battleground. India is pitching for transparent, accountable AI governance, inclusion of global south priorities, frameworks that prevents monopoly control of AI's infrastructure. So chat gpt, capilot, you say perplexity, whatever open AI you say, all of these are being controlled by what US and some of the countries of Europe. So if they don't give us this AI, no, we will never have it. That is the reason. So monopoly control of AI infrastructure, okay, databases, okay, the big data should not be there only with what few countries. It has to be what democratized. That is what we are going to put in the G20 summit. I hope these are all clear to you. Let us do the recap of it. India is going to talk about inclusive economic growth rate and development financing. India is going to talk about critical minerals framework. India is going to talk about climate action and renewable energy expansion. India is going to talk about artificial intelligence governance. I hope these are all clear to you. The last one that India is going to put forward in the G20 summit is digital public infrastructure, building on India's global recognized digital ecosystem. We want to build a digital ecosystem where many of the ministries can able to access from the data servers in the form of hub and spoke model. So we will make a digital ecosystem that can be easily accessible to many of the stakeholders. The summit may advance international norms on interoperability, means if in a US Google is there, Google can also able to operate from India. Okay, so that is called as what interoperability. Standards need to be given with regard to how the digital public infrastructure, the servers, the data management, storages, etc., how they should be look like. Cross-border digital payments, like we have expanded our UPI even to Dubai, even to France, etc., so and so forth. So we are leading with regard to cross-border digital payments with the same banks. Impact measurement is very important. How much this digital inclusion or digital revolution is impacting the life of the people. That impact measurement is also important. If adopted, this could strengthen the global south voice in the digital governance. Okay, basically India is going to put a lot of efforts because we are in the South Africa, which lies in the southernmost country of the Africa. So we are here to talk about global south, nothing but South America. We'll talk about Africa. We'll talk about Asian, which are in the southern regions, which are Southeastern nations. Okay, we are actually going to represent, and we are going to be a larger voice for the global south on this particular forum of G20, which Prime Minister Modi is going to represent, and obviously we'll have our say for sure. Okay, IBSA and Global South Movement. PM Modi will also participate in India, Brazil, South Africa leaders meeting, reinforcing the trilateral cooperation among the three of the global South most influential democracies. The meeting is expected to focus on international institutional reforms. Whatever this institution is there, no, we have to reform it. South-South development models need to be chalked out, and a shared roadmap for G20 engagement, means all these global South along with IBSA should have a like resolution, should have some important points and they should be presenting in G20 that we want this to be there in the G20. That is why we want all other India and Brazil and South Africa, we three want to share a common roadmap. Okay, whenever we engage with what G20 and try to get the most out of it. Trump has boycotted South Africa's handover of G20 presidency to the United Nations in 2026. Okay, from South Africa, the president is going to USA. I guess South Africa president will not go here because US president is not coming. This is not good. It will add layers of uncertainty again with regard to IBSA 2. Okay, the developed nations chair will likely shift toward focus towards, if a developed nations chair will likely shift focus towards geopolitical risk. Okay, if the US does not come, so it will lead to geopolitical risk, because even though whatever we do in G20 or G90, whatever we do, if US is not there, we again are at the risk of geopolitical uncertainties, because he can take any decision anytime, okay, all by himself. That's the reason that he needs to be present there, so that he should sign on important documents. But whether he comes or not, we don't know. It's still skeptical about his presence over there. At this point of time, he is not coming, but talks are there that he may be coming. Supply chain security is important, because you know that this guy can do anything. That's why, so taking some kind of like harmy, or you can say taking some kind of assurances, it's important that Donald Trump should be there and he should be signing on that particular resolution, so that he will work in that particular direction. So otherwise what will happen is, excluding him, if we do all the things, no, he will do something in the geopolitics or geoeconomy, also industry policy competition. Okay, all of these we are actually trying to what will be having a problem, because industry policies FDIs or tariff, etc., all that need to be what I say, that all that need to be becoming certain, etc., should be predictable. That is what we are trying to find out. If so, we want him to come. Trump dismissal of South Africa's presidency, a total disgrace, has already raised concern that Washington may deprioritize global South issues. The US benefits strategically from some reforms, such as MDB restructuring and global digital standards, especially if framed around countering alternative financing models and strengthening technological leadership. So if US comes, no, they will be benefited also. With regard to multilateral development banks, they will be getting some benefits. Global digital standards, where the most of the US companies actually are digital companies, IT companies, so they will also be getting benefit if he happens to come here. That will strengthen what, lot of financing models, lot of technological leadership would have been strengthened. But this guy, whether he comes or not, we are not aware of it, but we want his presence to be, so that all the things should go properly, and a new agenda with regard to G20 need to be worked out, that can be taken forward for the 2026 also, that can make a lot of investment in our country. So India is basically pushing. So if you have seen whatever we have discussed, India is basically pushing for global South here. India is pushing for technological and financial models, climate resilience, inclusive economic growth, which also includes what global South in that. So we are going to put a very important resolutions. We are going to put a very important things that need to be done. But as I told you, that if you use science, that would be better, because they are having larger share in various multi-developmental banks too. So without their presence, it's like it does not look like a very good summit, which is a qualitative outcome that we'll get. Okay, I hope this is all clear to you. Make sure that you be a part of my test series, classes, and mentorship. I'm a little bit faster, why? Because as you know that when you are learning PSIR, you are much aware of your basic knowledge when we are doing it. Okay, and for YouTube, this is like this speed would suffice to many of you. It's not a class that I will be going very slow and trying to build scratch knowledge. Okay, obviously in the classes I will be very slow only, not exactly very slow, but I will be slow, so that it goes into your mind better. Right. Take care. Have a nice day. I'll see you in the next class.